Welcome everybody. These are Wednesday webinars. These are organized by Pune River Revival. And mainly through these webinars, we talk about rivers, trees, water, and things related to environment. So today we have Ketaki, Ghate, and Manasi Karandikar with us. I think Ketaki and Manasi are quite well known. Everybody pretty much here, whoever I see in this webinar know them, but I'm just going to briefly introduce. They are known for restoring lands, and they have literally restored thousands of acres of land. And they are co-founders of ICOS for Ecological Services, and I think they've recently celebrated 25 years of ICOS. And they are also trustees of Adhivas Foundation. They are teachers in Ecological Society course and core member of the Ecological Society. So many of us here are their students also. And for us, another important thing is that they are in the advisor and core group of Pune River Revival. So that's also very important. Now, all the things that we do related to rivers, one of the things we have been consistently doing is questioning the Pune Riverfront Development, RFD, in its current form. And many people say that, do you guys always oppose it and question it? But it's not just that, but we also provide solutions and alternatives. And one of these alternatives was designed by Ketaki Manasi, I think, over 3 years back. It was presented also previously 3 years back, and that presentation was in Marathi. So today we decided that this presentation is going to be in English, but we'll take questions in both the languages, English as well as Marathi. Okay, so over to you.
Thank you.
So hello everyone.
So I'll just share the PPT and then we'll talk with respect to the PPT. So we have 45 minutes, right? Total, Prajakta?
Yes, 45 minutes, but if you want to take more time, I think everybody will be happy.
So what we'll do, maybe we'll just try and finish within 30 minutes so that we have enough time for question and answers.
Sure, sure.
So so as Prajakta was briefing, this is about a river revival strategy with an ecological approach. So what we're saying that this is much beyond beautification, and we just wish to show a model where we can restore natural, cultural, architectural heritage of Pune for this 1 kilometer stretch that we had selected along Mutha River near Vitthalwadi. So so maybe I think few slides we'll skip because we have kept this entire presentation on PRR website as well. So to certain extent, I'll just maybe skip through certain slides. So this is what the river is, right? And this is what ultimately we wish to restore, what you see in this particular photograph. So scope, as I said, this is 1 kilometer stretch near Vitthalwadi. And this particular study was conducted by Vitthalwadi and Oikos, both the organization. Vitthalwadi has been working on various river stretches along Mutha and Mola. So this is one of their stretches too. So this particular presentation covers some kind of background and introduction, then why river is important as an ecosystem. And this is very important before we go towards maybe proposing any kind of master plan. Because once you have a very solid foundation, how you look at any particular ecosystem, then only you are able to design very right kind of strategy for its revival. Then we'll talk about ecological assessment of that particular stretch, and then river restoration, which is a proposed design. So I'll just take you through the ecological assessment, and then Manasi can talk about the design. Yeah. So as I said, maybe I'll skip few. So these are Vitthalwadi volunteers working at Vitthalwadi stretch, cleaning, and along with Aditi and her team, we also tried to restore one wetland over there.
It was a spring. A spring that was little contaminated by the sewer there, and it was not reaching the river. So all these volunteers, they made it into a flowing channel, and it was nicely connected to the river then.
Yeah, so this is one little habitat that was restored. So if any of you wish to visit, you can visit this particular little habitat too. So our vision basically is to consider the river as a natural entity, restore the natural zones of the river, also restore the feeding streams, because that entire thing is basically a river ecosystem. So objective is to basically present proposal that aims at proposing a river revival strategy based on ecological perspective that includes these objectives. And so basically 5 things are there: consideration of river as a biological and living entity, stop, avoid, control solid and liquid pollution, restore the structure and functions of the river. Both things are very important. And promote wise use of river by various stakeholders. That's also very important. And develop an urban open space, which is very important from citizens' point of view. And benefits would be n number of benefits would be there for both human beings as well as non-human beings, both education, recreation, reduced risk of floods, fresh air spaces, obviously natural greens canopy, and also this will be addressing some kind of climate resilience, because we are right in an era of climate change. Yeah, so we studied this entire ecosystem over 6 to 8 months. We have literally made a grid along this 1 kilometer stretch, and studied the observation with respect to biodiversity along this stretch. So coming to this river, as in maybe just understanding this as a ecosystem, it is connected to the source region, and also it is connected to the downstream. So these are basically 3 main zones: source, plains, and mouth of any river. And it is full with many such habitats as you see on this particular slide. So various habitats are there. There's a riparian forest all along the river. There are meanders. She carves out beautiful meanders on the plains. Then there are such kind of very tiny habitats like riffles. चक्क असे पसरलेले गाळाचे दगडगोटे असतात. And each of this gravel or cobble is very important as a habitat. Then there are pools, and they are full with n number of non-human beings. Then there are rapids, as you see in this photograph. There are potholes, there are wetlands and islands. So in short, any river is full with different kind of sediments, sizes of sediments, and that's how you need to consider her as an ecosystem and then treat each habitat very cautiously. And that's why ecological assessment and analysis is very necessary before you go towards planning. So ideally, you can't really design one particular stretch of a river, but you need to design a policy and design for entire catchment actually. But whatever, we have only this river, and that's how government looks at it, that particular maybe a section of a river. So looking at Mutha, it originates in Vegre village in Western Ghats, and it meets River Ambi near Dauze, and then it becomes like goes into Khadakwasla and ultimately enters the Pune city limit. So I'm going to skip this few slides again, the history of Mutha. So Mutha is a very old river. Let me just tell you, you can maybe read many interesting stories about history of Mutha, if you wish to add anything to this.
Yeah, so Utah basically, so as you said, it's a historian river, and it was instrumental for Pune to be Pune. So that's what I just wish to add.
Okay. So then transformation from origin of the river till the urban landscape. It's very, very stark, as river is in her catchment areas. Up there in the source region is very clean, fairly clean, I must say. And as she enters the city, it starts getting dirty, and water and even the solid waste gets dumped here. So obviously there is an urgent need to repair this, and obviously there is also influence of dam. It's a completely different subject though. So coming to this selection of our river stretch, this is Vitthalwadi stretch. You can see Rajaram Bridge on the right hand side, and this is how flow is. So these are actual banks. This is eastern bank and this is western bank, and we did this assessment over 6 months. So it's very fascinating to look at the historical imageries of this particular stretch. You can see all these red dotted stretches we call this as a meanders, and this red is the stretch what we studied. So if you see, we call this cut bank. So outer bank of the river is called as cut bank because the flow keeps on eroding, upbraiding that particular side, and it deposits on another side. So that's why it is called as depositional bank. So flow and flood both have been basically shaping this kind of channel over years. And this is what is very stark difference. So in 2005, you can see there was no channelization and river width was almost 140 meters. You can see here. There was one feeder stream here and maybe some kind of rocky boulders. All these are various habitats that you can see were alive. But what happened in 2009, partial channelization was done and 140-meter is maybe just constricted to 30 meters, right? And here there's one wetland which is of 70 meters almost. Yeah, even then this
This was yet to be channelized.
so and then further to this, in 2020, the complete channelization was done, and the rest of the habitats you can see are almost dry, and river flow is only within that constricted 30 meters. And this wetland again is on our own, means it is not connected to the river. So this is what given in this particular state. Now, how we restore all of this is definitely we'll see, and slowly even the wetland, which was like you can see the dotted circle. This is how the original extent was, and now it is limited to this inner circle. And to certain extent, obviously, पाणी त्याची वाट काढतच तसं ते there are certain channels which come till the river. As you can see here, there are peepholes are also there, so through which the water is entering the river. So this is what the channelization has done to the river. Earlier, river full with habitats, now just one particular channel. Yeah, and the rest of the habitat obviously become dry. So this is what the hydrology is. There are multiple streams and springs which are meeting this particular stretch. So these are 9 habitats, and this is a fascinating part of this presentation that I like, that these 9 habitats are there. So one by one, maybe we'll look at it. So even if the channelized river, it is being used by many birds. As you can see, many egrets are sitting. This pied kingfisher is also seen. There are also people who go there for fishing. There are maybe certain types of fishes also.
So just to add, this pied kingfisher, it's seen in very few stretches. Like you can't see it in very heavily polluted areas. Though this part is polluted because there is good amount of population on the upstream, but this is not seen everywhere.
Yeah. So some indicators are there beyond whatever pollution it is there. Then there are streams and springs, as you see in this image, and they're very important part. And this was the kind of kunda which is there just outside Vitthalwadi. And I was telling you, along with Aditi, we tried to restore the wetland below this. And these are the weep holes that you see. So all this definitely can be restored. And this wetland and meadows, they're together actually. So whatever shallow water body is there, it is right now is colonized by certain plants. And as you can see in this particular photograph, polygonum is one plant. In Marathi it is called as paral, which is most dominant here. Actually, this can have a diversity of plants, and that's what restoration is actually. Restoring all that diversity becomes our objective. And right now, yes, you can see much of the fauna, beetles and caterpillars. And this first photograph is Harat Kumku. It is also milkweed, which is supporting some kind of tiger butterfly. And certain dragonflies were also there. So dragonflies, we say, is a good indicator. They are actually apex predator in any water body. So if they are there, obviously their larvae control the mosquito population too. So that's why such kind of animals are important. And the rocky areas are there. They are also very crucial habitats and perches in the riverbed. And we could see many birds here perching. One of our team member got wonderful photograph with pond heron, then lapwing and this black-winged stilt in one frame, as if just, and even little lower, yeah. So sandpiper.
So this is how the areas in between, which are like small rocky islands, are very useful for the fauna. So if like whenever there is channelization or whenever there is high water, these habitats, they get submerged and then there are no such perching sites.
Yeah. And then rest of the things are like grassy areas, and grassy areas also support a lot of biodiversity. As you can see here, all the birds are there and reptiles are there. Many are coming to feed on grasses. We have also spotted many snakes and their skins. So basically a lot of diversity also there in these grassy areas. And the last is this riparian zone, actually second last. So whatever fragmented riparian zone is there, we could see good diversity of terrestrial birds like the oriole and munias and bulbuls and hornbills. And in that also there are few old growth trees, really large size trees. Basically, umber and pimper are there, and word is also
Word and
banyan is also there, and all these are almost kind of keystone species. You remove them and you lose a great diversity of birds and other animals. So all these baboon and pimper are there all along this stretch. We also could spot this harial, which is our state bird.
Hey, this is gray fronted.
Gray
Gray
fronted.
fronted. So it's very uncommon to have this bird in our area. So fortunately, there could be some corridors which has connected it to this stretch. So we were very happy when one of the team members from Jivit Nadi they spotted this here.
And then n number of micro habitats are there. I think we can just go on speaking about the ecological status, but this is just to show you a glimpse of all tiny habitats, whatever are there. They're full with the diversity. And lastly, the temple complex, which is a lovely temple complex, which has a घडीव दगडात केलेलं मंदिर आहे. So it has got some Pune's glimpse of heritage. That's what we are saying, that we need to actually maybe mimic this kind of architecture along the river. Instead of maybe completely new embankments, can we just mimic these structures, whatever are there, which are made out of lovely basalt dressed stone? This is the diversity. Almost more than 300 species are spotted within just 6 months. So in 1 kilometer, almost 6 months and 300 species. So all the species are there, various groups are there, taxa are written here, and these are all indicators, again, spotted particularly at this different habitat. So this is her real. This is our state bird, actually. Yeah, and then, yeah, so these are just certain documentation that we did while we were doing the survey. And we also could document the human use. There are certain shepherds, they also come during certain time in a year, and they just make their sheep rest there for a day or two, and then they walk away. Then there are maybe dhobis are there who use all these rocks. There are fishermen are there. So all these are also stakeholders, is what we see. So these are different stakeholders. So all non-human beings are there on one side and all human beings are there on one side. So we say that ultimately our design should be inclusive towards all of them. So we can't really displace any of them, but make space and facility for each of them. And then there are certain constraints. For this river stretch is already polluted. Then from upstream, there is a lot of pollution which is coming inside. So there is no control basically over upstream pollution sources. But even then, we try to develop some kind of a model stretch. So from here onwards, we talk about all design, like what all things we consider.
So while after we took all the on ground realities on paper, then we also studied the DP and surrounding area. So what is planned by the government, what is the land use in the surrounding, and can this our design be maybe in tune with all these requirements or whatever is given right now. So here you can also see the blue and red lines. So I think all of you must be knowing about blue and red lines, which are the 25 years and 100 years flood lines basically. So we need to consider that also. We can't change them. Maybe there could be some deviation after maybe 2020 or something, but this is yet to happen. So we can safely consider these lines right now. So this is how the proposed design will look like. So the main objective is clean and restore. So these are some of its sub points. So the design emphasis is basically on maintaining the river cross section. Uh, so not to reduce it, then have natural banks wherever possible. Now it's in the city, we already have some constructed banks, but wherever possible, if we can have natural banks, then widen the channel, because as you have seen that the channel has been built inside and which has restricted the river actually. So we have to widen it so that uh, the flood can be accommodated within the channel, within the river channel, I would say, and enhance the citizen experience. So these were few of the things. We also studied some case studies from across the globe. So this is one stream restoration in Korea. So you can just Google these things. I'm just giving you some pointers, but beyond that, there will be many such case studies which are really good and show us the paths to work on these like urban rivers. So this is from Switzerland, and there is one from Austria. So this is how the river can change actually. This is from Singapore. So it was a very constricted channel and it was then made into multi-channel and wetland accommodated river channel. So this is how a river design could be within urban areas also. Like there are certain examples from rural and certain examples from urban areas. So these were some case studies, and we could also enumerate various benefits of having such ecologically informed design. So in planning, we have considered these four river functions. That is, first is respect the blue and red lines. Then second is restore the physical structure of the river, then restore biological structure. So one way is that when you restore physical structure, the biological structure can follow it. So it aligns itself eventually within say 5 years, 10 years down the line. But we can also accelerate it by certain design elements. And then fourth is recreate the citizen axis. So we'll see it one by one. So this is the master plan, how it looks like. So total area under consideration was almost 38 acres, and it has both like beyond banks and within the banks. And the proposed treatment areas are like this. So area under restoration is almost 30 acres, then area under recreation is 1 acre, area under recreation outside banks is 6.5 acres. But in totality, if you see this pie chart, then it is almost like 80% of the work is restoration and just 20% is recreation. So this is very important, how you manage these two spaces basically. So this is how the master plan will look like. So we have kept two accesses. It's not like entire river stretch is open to the access. So there are two restricted accesses from where the entry points can be.
And
Then
this is the main thing actually in this design, that if you look at the current riverfront development, it is accessible to citizens all along the river.
Yeah.
So we are saying maybe if citizens surely can access, but they can only reach river through something like fingers, not all along the river. So most of the river is protected and some stretches are developed for citizens. So that's the main thing.
Yeah. Then we should have free flowing river without a channel. So we can actually remove channel selectively. So that's what we have designed. Then a pathway to have a walk all along. But this pathway is not a very beaten pathway like or a tar or a maybe cement pathway, but it's a more natural and connecting the rocky ways in between. Then we have waterfall improvement and wetland development, then the spring development, sit out areas, and we have separated the two basically land uses here, which is one is both are religious, but one is for the temple and another is for cremation. So we have separated those two uses. Then riparian zone development, then wastewater treatment and wetland development within channel, and there is one stream which is coming and meeting the river, which is really polluted. So having wetlands at the meeting point will be important so that we can treat that stream basically. Then creation of riverine habitats, because the river have lost those habitats. It has been desilted, it has been channelized. So we can recreate those by creating like forts and boulders and islands and some stepping stones in between. Then this is one wetland garden which actually can function as a flood control wetland. So whenever flood happens, so right now whatever we are seeing in the river, so it is flowing at its full capacity. It's not a flooded river, so it is flowing within its banks. So that's the extent of our river actually. So if we want to respect that extent, then it has to be at that point. And beyond that will be the flood. So whenever there is more rain, then the river actually flows beyond its banks, and that is the flood. So earlier there were flood terraces along the river where we have actually now settled. But creating such flood control wetlands will also create some breathing spaces and strategies to mitigate the floods that happen every year. So these are a few strategies that we can have. Then there is also a small garden, habitat garden, where people can come and look at the pollinators and all those things. And then there is a mesh to remove solid waste. Unfortunately, that's the thing that we need to install. So this is just along the Rajaram Bridge, from where people have this competition of throwing all kind of waste into the river beyond, like from the fence that these people have erected. So this is how the master plan will look like. And these are few of the more details about the same. So these are removal of some structures, maybe modification of some structures. Like here you can see those sewer lines which are inside the river channel. So those need to be outside the banks. Then there is a Visarjan tank. So all these kind of physical structures that have been added into the river bank should get like modified, and we should have it outside, relocated outside. Then widening of river channel. So right now the channel width, which is 30, it needs to be widened so that we have access, like water is reaching the habitats, and also there is some more area for the water to be accommodated. Then this is solid waste management at the mouth, at the meeting point of the stream, and at the Rajaram Bridge where people tend to throw things. Then this is one a small feeder stream that comes in, where we can have such water quality improvement techniques by creating wetlands and treatment areas. Then these are riparian habitats. So you can see this photograph is from Y actually. So we already have such beautiful rivers around us. We just need to see them and replicate it here. So it's like creating bed load, then intermittent boulders, then deep pools, wet meadows, wetlands. So all those things needs to be created so that we can have the functions of the river intact. So that's one of the criteria behind this design. So this is how these in-stream wetlands would may look like if they are created.
You can also see the pathways basically need to be very natural.
Yeah.
So again, so detailed designing again is completely different task. But this is just to show you that how you can develop a river in an ecological way.
Yeah. And these are almost 4 acres of riverine habitats that are in place in the design basically. Then the third point is about restoring the biological structure. So it's like developing the riparian zone. So right now, if you can see, this entire is one stretch of riparian zone. So though it is discontinuous, like ahead of this, you can't see any riparian zone. Here you can't see any riparian trees. But this is discontinuous and it has some non-natives also. So we can have strategies to like replace them and plant with the right kind of riparian species. So these are a few of the riparian species that can be introduced and planted here. Then we have the right vegetation in not only at the edge but inside also in the wetland areas or within the channel. So some grasses, some sages, some herbs that can also be good for the local fauna. Then recreate access for citizens. That's the very important point because it's a urban river, and we have been hearing about this point mainly that since it is a urban river, so we need to have citizens, we need to have experience for them, we need to have some open spaces within the urban areas which are very densely populated. so that people can have good recreation facilities. So this is how we can actually connect people to river, because unless we have people coming to river, we can't expect them to work for river. So that's one of the key point with which Jivit Nadi team is already working on, that to connecting people to the river, and then we can do certain conservation activities. So these are certain points that we thought of including in the design. That is, one is the temple complex with ghats. That needs to be maybe redesigned to have certain activities. Then a wetland park with amenities, that is on the other bank. Then a trail along the river which will connect the river to the citizens, and they can also enjoy the fauna that is coming in, or they can enjoy bird watching and all those things. Then a wetland observation area, a river crossover fort. So whenever there is a low water in the river, like in the lean season, then people can actually go till the river. They can cross through the river with a bridge or a fort, and a fishing deck, of course. So we have seen fishermen having good time here. So there will be some urbanites also which can enjoy this fishing activity. So these are few glimpses, like the temple complex, which can be which have been designed using dressed rock. So keeping the cultural and heritage things in mind. So there could be these areas can be used as maybe for certain activities like kirtan, or already things are happening at the river for lectures or talk, everything. Then this is the wetland parks, some glimpses how it can be designed. So there could be some pollinators that will visit the plant. There will be wetlands, so the birds can visit it. There could be n number of wetland species that can be introduced here. So it creates a nice amenities for people to look at the river side wetlands, and also learn about these features and associations in those areas.
These are just conceptual images that we have gathered from various projects that are done all over the world.
Yeah, and even ours.
Yeah, few are ours.
So then this is the trail along the river. So it's not like not a concretized thing, but using natural stones, more natural materials. So there are ample opportunities to have material palette for that. But it's basically a very natural form of a pathway that will connect these rocky areas on bank A. Then this is wetland observation area that we thought of, because on that stream basically there is a bridge which was constructed earlier when a road was planned, and there is no road, a proper road on either side of the bridge, but the bridge structure exists. So this can be used as a gallery, basically a viewing gallery for seeing that wetland which is being planned just below that bridge basically. Then a river crossing area and a fishing deck. So that could be one of the highlight of this design, that people can come and watch these spaces and enjoy being along the river. So yeah, so this is like what we dream of this river. So there are like riparian trees, then there are in-stream habitats, riparian patches. Then you can see this a small wall which is retained, which is existing channel wall, but we have retained it at few places just to ensure that the wetland which is beyond that wall is not contaminated with the existing polluted water. Because when we did the study of like the water quality assessment of this river channel, this river stretch, these two wetlands had a very good quality, and that showed us that that water mixing is not much. So we need to retain that until entire river is pollution free. So we have retained certain areas for not allowing this mixture, and also those areas, like those paths, can then be used by people for walking or observing the birds. So this is how the schematic of proposed river stretch would look like. You can see the Kundalik Mandir also standing in between. Yeah, so these are few things that we have designed as an alternative. So where it it doesn't compromise on the citizens' access, but it integrates the ecological aspects of this reverse channel. So these are few pointers that can be thought of beyond this proposal. And when if we are thinking of like executing this on ground, then these are few pointers that needs to be like understood. So we hope that this will happen on ground.
Because we also will need to maybe other departments, government departments also to work here.
In this.
Maybe CWPRS, PMC, various government departments also need to work, even if this one particular stretch that we have selected. So there are certain limitations of
Yeah.
the studies too.
So whatever limitation that we could think of, we have enumerated. There could be some more also, and some might come when we start maybe thinking of implementing it on ground.
Yeah, and even during detailing, because detailing itself is a very big and very important stage.
Yeah.
This is still at a conceptual level and definitely can be done, surely.
So yeah, at some stage of working drawing stage, but it needs to be detailed out. Those in the group who are architects, they will understand this kind of language. So these are certain references and case studies, and for like you can go through all these at a later stage. And yeah, so we had a multidisciplinary team who was working on this entire thing, and some of them might be there in this call also. So yeah, so this is it. Thank you, PRR and Jivit Nadi, for arranging all these things painstakingly. Thanks.
So Jeevit Nadi has this slogan, "My river, my responsibility." What we just now saw is "My river, my dream." So this is really the dream stretch that you have shown to everybody. I think we can take questions now, and people can even unmute and ask their own questions. But I can see two questions already are there in the chat. So if you want to address that, you can just go ahead.
What is the status of STPs funded by JICA? So yeah, so still maybe few STPs are funded, few are already in the pipeline, few are they are establishing. But it will take its own time to basically complete the execution and be operational. So yeah, and they also say that yet the full funding is not yet released. So I don't know if anyone from Jeevit Nadi knows the real situation of this JICA funding. शैलजा किंवा कोणाला माहिती असेल तर.
See the current status, they are upgrading the 11 which are existing and building up new STPs at 9 different locations where Zyka is funding. So currently the procedure which is going on, if you see, not a single STP has been completely done up. If you see the scenario, they are still laying the drainage pipelines and trunking the outfalls, direct outfalls through the pipelines, which are reaching the STPs. But at this stage in today, no STP is functioning under Zyka. The work is still going on. It's not still. They also have to have. There is a gap between the land acquisition. Also, there are two STPs where there is a land acquisition issue. Then the biodiversity site, which is on the Spicer Road, which is a biodiversity site where they are proposing an STP where there are age-old trees, means 300 years, 400-year-old trees, and the pristine area they are proposing STP. So obviously the citizens are opposing to that. So this is overall a status, I would say.
Yeah. And Charuta has written, any thought about controlling foul smell and mosquitoes, which is must if we are planning recreational area? Yes.
Certainly.
So obviously it's what you can say, it's given. The output of this is maybe control of mosquitoes and foul smell. The moment we create wetlands, the moment we recreate the habitats, that is being taken care of. But of course, as we had said in the PPT, that there are certain limitations. So there is a carrying capacity for a river stretch to treat the smell, or maybe to maybe keep it away, or say maybe from being the breeding ground for mosquitoes. It also depends on the quality of the water. So to certain extent, this river stage can itself treat, but if at all upstream pollution is too much, then we're not sure what would happen. But at least what we have taken care in this particular stretch is have a wetland garden itself. And whatever feeder streams are there, which are feeding the river, at least those we would have wetlands. So wetlands themselves are something like a cleaning system. So you can treat the water through wetlands and the clean water reaches the river. And the moment it is clean, there are very less chances that all these mosquitoes and other insects which are that way bad are maybe could breed in excess. So that's what we have tried to, take care of through this design.
I
Then
think few people have raised hands, so we can.
Yeah, Unmesh, you can go ahead and ask your
Yeah.
question, and after that, Ashwini can.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have two questions. What is DP? Some DP was mentioned. I couldn't get what the DP is full form. I am totally new to this subject.
So DP is developmental planning report, and it also assigns areas like there is reservation or whether it is residential area or whether it is river or something like it was shown as crematorium and all those things. So basically it's a planning document of a city which is created by the municipal corporation, and so there are things like it can be accepted, there could be certain maybe objections to it and all those things. So that's the document that any municipal corporation develops over time to assign various land uses to the city urban areas.
Okay. And another thing, since like this, I might have some silly questions. So I would like to revisit this PPT. And where can I find it? You said some site.
Yeah, it's on PRR website.
So
We will share the link actually.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that will be great. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Ashwini, you wish to go next?
Yeah, hi. So not a first time that I'm hearing this, but after a long time I'm hearing this, I can say this. So I have a very basic question. Maybe मी तुला कधीतरी विचारलं पण असेल whenever we have met before. What's stopping the current bureaucrat or the current administrative system of doing it maybe for a model stretch, like they did one model stretch near Bun Garden की कसं दिसतंय, आणि बऱ्याच लोकांना कन्स्ट्रक्टेड गोष्टी आवडतात इव्हेंच्युअली, म्हणजे दे गो अवे फ्रॉम दिस होल थिंग की मग ती नदी खराब आहे का, ते सुवेज वॉटर फ्लो होत आहे का नाही, बट जनरली पीपल लाईक कन्स्ट्रक्टेड थिंग्स. तापलेलं जरी असेल तरी ते आवडायला लागतं हा इव्हेंच्युअली. सो व्हॉट स्टॉपिंग द करंट ऍडमिनिस्ट्रेशन, और हॅव यू परस्यूड द ऍडमिनिस्ट्रेशन टू गिव्ह यू अ मॉडेल स्ट्रेच वेर यू विल do it completely the way you have shown it? That's first. And I'm sure you must have taken out some costs to what your design is for. So is there a mechanism which you have tried to do with them where maybe you are getting some funds from elsewhere to do it and not relying on the administration to do it your way? I mean, just a thought which I thought I should ask.
Yeah, so firstly, we have tried this, like we presented it to the commissioner, to the team, and like they in principle agreed to it. They said, yeah, this is all nice, but it didn't go beyond that because I think there could be some other limitations that all of us will know because it's not constructed basically from both the banks. And secondly, about having funds for this, so maybe we have tried through various sources, but the most important limitation is this being not a private area and being a municipal area. So river is controlled by irrigation department, municipal corporation. There are various departments which are aligned in that. So there has to be a very strong yes from the governance, from the government body, then only creating such model stretch can go ahead. Otherwise, just doing it independently by NGOs may not work because there will be n number of other issues that needs to be aligned with the other departments. So that is
So
one
fund
thing.
is not a, so funding is not a challenge. Then it is their buy-in,
It is their
which,
mindset. Means they just need to change the approach. Means
right.
that's what I think even Shabnam has asked this question, that what are the limitations of current river rejuvenation DPR? It's the same thing actually. Just the perspective is lacking. The moment you wish to do ecological development, then you would have different experts actually working there. But even
Yeah.
when we presented the commissioner and everyone that time, they were happy. They said, yes, 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 this is really good. Means why not? You can just suggest all this to our architects team. And we also did that. We had shown this
Certain
presentation
extent,
to
yeah.
them as well. And they said, yeah, we'll integrate that too. But when it
Yeah.
comes to integration, they many times integrate only terms in their planning.
Yeah.
So it doesn't come to actual, and the main difference is we are saying that citizens should have access only through certain fingers which are going towards the rivers, not all along the river. That's the main difference. And they wish to develop entire riverfront, complete
Yeah, yeah.
40 plus 40 kilometers.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Obviously, that's a completely different approach. And that project, even if you see, when the consultant and the contractors, they're already given the tenders and they're already working.
Yeah.
So for them, say maybe if at all they'll have to maybe rewind the entire wheel and do all these things right from the approach.
True.
So which is, as all of us know,
Yeah, true.
yeah, that's why
Yeah,
it is
so-
stuck somewhere.
So limitations and challenges both.
Yeah, yeah,
perceive.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Who can?
Who's TK?
Hello.
Hello.
So my question is a little bit different, but it's related to rivers only. So is it true that Aspergillus tuberculosis fungus can decompose plastic? And if yes, can it survive in water to decompose all the plastic in rivers?
Oh, we are not sure. We are not expert that way from
Fungus,
fungus.
But we can check and let you know.
You can just
Okay.
drop the question in the chat box. We can check and get back to you.
Okay. Thank you.
So should we take?
Yeah, the
Yes.
next question was water. What are the major gaps or limitations you have observed in current river rejuvenation DPRs? How can they be improved?
So many.
Yeah, so there are
it
many.
could
I
be
don't think so.
another-
Yeah, this is a time to talk about it. But main thing is perspective, as I said. The moment we talk changing the perspective, everything falls in line. Yeah, then
With the flood level data, how will this design handle 25 and 100-year floods?
So the thing is that we are we are talking about something which is at the receiving end. So the river, which already has all the settlements in its floodplain, so this 1 kilometer stretch design can't handle this question basically. So the floods which go beyond the limits, like right now we have considered both the banks as the limiting factor for this because that was given. But if it was free-flowing river and it didn't have the those things along the banks, like the settlements and buildings and all those things, then it was easier to do or to talk about this basically.
But basically hydraulics is controlled by dam right now. So flood is also basically caused by this entire dam hydraulics. So it's not only that stretch, it's also about how much water is being released. So it's not an easy answer. Means you design certain things in 1 kilometer and you would be able to control the floods. So even if the entire thing is ecological and you do the best thing, whatever is ecological, that may not be able to hold that much water which is being released from the dam. So obviously this kind of these are complex issue and needs to be handled by multiple authorities and the multiple way. But yes, means our design basically will reduce the risk of flood because we are trying to make as much wetlands as possible, and wetlands they're almost like they're able to absorb much water. They also have a hydric soil, and so otherwise maybe in the rest of the seasons they go little drier, but the soil is still the same. So if you keep the wetland and the riparian zone intact, it has some capacity. But yes, other issues are also there.
Because
So
floods are
Rashmi,
always beyond the line of the river, no? So where we are sitting right now.
And also, like current climate change, rainfall is completely a erratic pattern we have. And because of that, so for that, we surely need to keep some kind of space for river. So we need to give her space, because right now, whatever rainfall is there, even river in her life is experiencing for the first time, right? Even she's not used to have that much rainfall, because it's too much. Means the rainy days are concentrated only in few days, and that is unusual. So for that, you need to have completely different mechanism. And
it has to be done at a landscape level,
yes,
not just at the city level. So from where we can handle only say 40 kilometers, 50 kilometers of river stretch, and here so we are saying just 1 kilometer as a model stretch. But if we have something like this continuously as a strategy for entire river, then there is a chance that at least we can handle it to certain extent. It won't have uh, that devastating effect maybe.
and keep aside flood level in 2500 years, means it's not able to handle every year's flood.
Yeah.
Means if you look at the way city is settled, the kind of impervious surfaces that we have, just because of that, every year we are having flooding situation, which is also worse. Means unless and until you shape the city and the settlements all along the river, in a little different way, and there are multiple things. So that also needs to be handled well.
Rashmi says it's excellent base work. First thing before even proposing is demarking river basin area. So I think that is just a statement. So
Okay.
Yashoda is asking, is it necessary to have STPs close to river stretch? I have seen STPs in other cities which are far away from water bodies, and some of them the treated water used within the neighborhood and rest flows to the river or lake. Yes, this is a very
Yeah,
important.
of course. Means that's why, I mean, in this particular stage, we have definitely proposed to move this
Sewer lines at least.
sewer lines at least away from the
But
river.
like STPs needs to be certainly away from the river and not in the centralized way that we have right now. Like you are saying that in neighborhoods, so there could be decentralized STPs all over, but it's about like the space and the development. So it's the race against space, I would say, in urban areas.
But like they do even elsewhere. I think Parinita also can explain. Maybe I've seen in Florida, they treat their own sewage and they have nice pond, and then it is the water is treated, even tertiary treatment is done in that pond, and then that overflows into the river. So there is no question of going any kind of polluted water into the river. So that's the kind of treatment we need to do beyond even STPs.
Yeah, I think that answers the next question also. Anthony says, how will sewage and industrial waste entering the river be treated before being discharged? I think, yeah, that answers.
Yes.
Yeah, Parinita, you want to answer some more, you can.
Yeah. Hi, Ketki. Hi, Mansi. Fantastic presentation as
We should
always.
see you.
नको आता नको सकाळी स्वयंपाक करता करता आहे it is pretty bad so no.
Okay.
I just wanted to completely support you when you talked about, because I think that is a question which is going to be raised by the city authorities and also by the citizens. Ki how does this ecological restoration of 1 kilometer patch stand against 25 years or 100 years floods or the increasing floods and flooding that is happening? All across, not all across, that's a big statement to make, but whatever restoration sites that I have visited, river restoration sites, I have asked this question because sometimes it is this romantic conception that we have that restoration will lead to flood control. And everywhere at all sites, unequivocally, the restoration experts have said that the river at that point is a reflection of the watershed. So you cannot expect a restored river stretch to manage the path of the entire city and the upstream. That's not going to happen. So and so I think we have to be very unapologetic about it, talking even with the planners and the decision makers, because they will say that if against RFD, what are the benefits of flood modulation of river restoration approach? The thing is, RFD is actually pinching the river and not talking about what happens to floods. That is on one hand. And on the other hand, we have a tiny restoration example on which you want to give the weight of treating the floods of the city. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. But even beyond that, I do again. I just want to completely support you in that restoration has different aims. River restoration has different aims. The aims can be water quality, biodiversity, and habitat restoration, water quality treatment, making a good space for people to come together. But flood control cannot be the aim of river restoration, and it has to be a citywide approach. It might be RFD or river restoration. It has to be a citywide. And ते 5 धरणं बसली आहेत टाळक्यावरती, त्यांचं management
Exactly.
is the most important thing. I mean, I was just want to take 1 minute where Bimal Patel had come up with, on his Substack, he has talked about rivers, and he talked about river restoration just 2 weeks back. He's come up on his Substack, and he's saying that the city environment, and he's also taken the example of Pune, Pune movement. And so I thought it's important to say that he is saying that Pune people or the river ecologists think that the river is a natural system, and they know that the river is not a natural system. I would absolutely want to counter that we know that the river is not a natural system. I mean, we know that there are 5 dams in the upstream, and we are trying to, give solutions considering those 5 dams. But you are constructing an RFD, not even considering how the dams are functioning. So, yes. Anyway, fantastic, great, wonderful. Thanks. Bye. Yeah.
And if
Question
at
by
all they give us maybe even that kind of opportunity to design for the entire river stage, we would address even flood issues. I mean, the moment you plan for the catchment and the entire river stretch, then you can think about flood control and all the systems. Right now, we don't have that funds. You haven't even given us that particular work very officially. We are just doing this kind of volunteering and just trying to provide some kind of alternative. So maybe obviously there are a number of limitations with which all of us are working. So yeah,
Absolutely.
so as you are saying, it's
Absolutely.
very difficult.
So we have
Wait,
another
all
7
right.
or 8 questions and
Yeah,
just
please.
2 minutes. So let us see if we can address all. Dhananjay luckily has addressed some of them. So Manish is asking, what is the advantage of building a canal in the middle of a river?
So advantage, like earlier they might have thought ki let it flow through the channel so that it goes faster to the lower areas, or maybe earlier it was channelized to have roads on both the sides, which were thankfully stopped by a few people in this group. So that was one of the I would say thing that drove the channelization in the middle of the river. But there is like, I don't know, I don't see any advantage of building a channel.
Straight answer is there is no advantage. So there is only
There's no advantage, I
disadvantages.
think.
Yeah.
They just
So
built it
Prashant
for
is also a question
beautification.
which you I think sort of answered. How to reconcile river restoration with the increases in 100-year flood caused by climate change and urbanization? Yes, I
So
Yeah,
don't
it,
think
we
we
talked
can.
about
yeah,
it.
so it
Yeah,
needs to be like river plus surrounding areas, not just the river.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, one thing
Anthony,
there is, yeah, sorry, just one point I'll add there is the riparian trees are typically high friction, so we have to have a defense of that.
yes, correct. Anthony is asking, will it be at the cost of any felling trees and how it can be developed without causing damage?
No,
No, it won't be
Dhananjay
at
has
the cost of
answered it. No.
And some of these, I think, any natural springs mapped around Vitthalwadi or downstream, which may help in
Yes.
improving the water quality. I think they touched upon that, but if you want to further elaborate, you can do that.
Yeah, the natural springs have been mapped by Aquadam. So they have already all the data all along the river, and particularly in the Vitthalwadi stage when we did the assessment, we had talked with them for the springs basically. So there is one spring on the Vitthalwadi side and one on the opposite bank where the wetland is formed. So there are two springs in this 1 kilometer stretch.
So we'll take another 5 minutes. We'll just go beyond.
Yes.
Shubham is asked, in your opinion, what improvements are needed to make river rejuvenation DPRs in Maharashtra more effective and sustainable? Dhananjay is rightly said you have to change the mindset of decision makers, money oriented to ecologically sustainable. Yeah, I mean we can have both money oriented and ecological sustainable.
And
So
also
they can go
maybe,
hand in hand. Yeah.
yeah, and also maybe in addition to this, if at all, maybe citizens come together, volunteer, and
Yes.
map what all habitats and biodiversity is there along the rivers. Because see, soon it will be reaching any city in Maharashtra or India for that matter. So because they're going ahead and all their DPRs are showing very few species, means their entire 44 kilometers is showing not even 100 species. That's ridiculous. So if at all we have enough maybe data showing that all our rivers are full with the diversity, at least that becomes the first stage, for mapping. And that also can be used as a tool. Maybe old growth trees, if they are mapped. So definitely, as Dhananjay has written, changing the mindset surely is needed. But also along with that, if citizens come together and volunteer and do the mapping, it would be good.
Yeah, basically awareness and knowledge
Hmm.
increase in the citizens and active participation and then pressure on the decision makers. This is the only way
Yes.
which works in the current context.
Yes.
Yeah, Dhananjay himself has asked the question, why isn't such a rational proposal appreciated by the decision makers? Don't we have any visionary leaders who can align with such ecological restoration?
So unfortunately, it was surely appreciated very well.
Yeah.
They just loved this. I mean, all of them were saying, "Wow, this is excellent, and this is what we want." So why don't we just give you the plan? Then why don't you give us just the inputs that how our plan can be improved? And that we did, but that
So it's
was
not that.
unbelievable.
Yeah, you can't just give improvements to a channelized
Yeah.
question.
I guess some of these are rhetorical questions. So
Yeah.
pretty much we have covered everything, and as I have mentioned here regarding mapping, tree mapping and biodiversity mapping, many of the volunteers are doing it pretty much every weekend consistently. They are doing amazing work,
Yes.
and all that is available in the open database. It is available on iNaturalist. And also some volunteers are monitoring the flood levels and river water level. That is also available in open database. So PRR has been doing a great work of citizen science. I just wanted to highlight that. And it was a wonderful session. And I want to tell you that we actually crossed 100 today.
Wow.
I think this was a record webinar where we hit a century. And this was, frankly speaking, I'm not surprised because the Ketaki and Manasi have so many fans here. So, and I'm so happy that so many people attended. Thank you for attending. It was a wonderful
Thank you.
session. This will be uploaded on YouTube. So those who could not attend can soon see it on PRR's YouTube channel. And please share then with your family and friends because this is a very important topic. And we hope that we can reach out to the new people in the administration. And if we can make something happen, that would be great. Thanks
Certainly.
again.
Thank you.
Thank you.